do have another issue. I'm still disappointed to hear that there are still gay flags in classrooms, especially at Cope. I had an incident with my son where the principal, Ms. Locke, said there is, quote, no policy whether or not they can have one. I said, well, you know what? Then my son is going to have a Bible and a rosary in front of his desk every single day for this teacher to see, to feel how uncomfortable it is to see a gay flag in the classroom. You know, it's like you guys are ripping out our morals that we teach our kids here. How do you feel me teaching all this stuff to your own kids in school? Why are they asking a teacher, asking my son, do you have pronouns? What are your pronouns? How is that acceptable? My son asking me, Mom, what is a pronoun? These minds, this little mind of my son, you guys are corrupting it. I mean, what are we going to do? What are you going to ask them next? How are you guys allowing this to happen? Again, it's all nice and pretty, but behind your noses, there's a lot of things that are happening that you guys are
in this adult event. I have no problem with gay people. I have family members who are gay. I have dear friends who are gay. This is not a war against gay people. This is a war against indoctrinating our children who are too young for this. I have no problem with how people want to live their lives, and that needs to be clear. You can do whatever you want. This is America, is a free country. But don't you dare start indoctrinating our kids. This is why your enrollment is dropping. It's like it's on the farthest downward steep hill you've ever had in your.
When I talked about the gay pornography in your guys' libraries, and I've come back to tell you guys because I was informed after the meeting that no indoctrination in classrooms is allowed, including BLM flags, gay pride flags, and stuff of that nature. But the thing is, you can't actually get these removed out of the classroom because you guys consider it free speech. When you guys have these things at schools, you're not allowed to like read a Bible in the classroom, and you're not allowed to give your religious opinions, but you're allowed to sexually indoctrinate kids, and you're allowed to have these things up explicitly in your classroom. So I would encourage you guys to actually make a transparent policy on these type of things, because
this type of event is designed to groom children to embrace the LGBTQ lifestyle. It desensitizes them to hypersexual images and situations, glorifies transgenderism, and destroys their sexual innocence. Drag queen events are nothing short of risque adult humor at the expense of harming children's psyche and mental well-being. There is no doubt that children subjected to drag queen events are more likely to embrace transgenderism or homosexuality than those who have not participated. Because schools, movies, social media, and so many other areas are promoting transgenderism in our culture, we are having an epidemic of kids that are declaring themselves transgender or non-binary. Unprecedented over our history of world history, really, especially here in our country. Which of you?
Another thing I want to ask about is we've got pornography in the public library. And when people say you need to, ban books, yeah, we're going to ban Hustler, Playboy, and all those other things. They should not be in a school library. Those things were in a back room or in the liquor store when I was growing up. They were not in a public school classroom. We don't put the happy hooker in the school. We have to have censorship in the schools to protect children. When children come to adults and ask for help, and adults look at them with blank stares or say you have to go through the 8-step process and a year later the book is not removed, I want to know what's going on. And I'm going to say this, there are no LGBTQ children. I am a business owner in this town. I'm a pastor in this town with my husband. That happens later on. We're not grooming children. I'm going to tell you, school district, you can train our children in academics, but you're not called to raise them. On the back, you need to get to work because you answer to the citizens, the parents, the grandparents, and God Almighty for what you're doing. What Dr. Broom just talked about, that is what you need to realize. You will all give an account to God for what you're doing sitting in these seats and what you're teaching these children and what you're allowing in our schools. Redlands could be very high academics. I have tons of school teachers in my family. You need to wake up.
And are they appropriate for children? Because not Every book that's available under our First Amendment for adults, every video, every movie is appropriate for children. Parents used to be able to trust when they sent their children to the government-run schools that the schools were not, you could trust your children. They weren't going to instill values that they opposed. They weren't going to try to sexualize your children. That's no longer the case. Parents can no longer have that trust and confidence in the government-run schools. And it is not a small minority of hateful parents that think it is inappropriate for children. It is the normal, decent-thinking American parents who, yes, those things are out there, and you're an adult, you're going to deal with it, but not for my children, not in the government-run schools. Another example.
This may not resonate with any of you, but I hope when you wake up at night, it replays in your head. God warns, like our physician told us, very strictly about leading children astray. Matthew 18:6. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. That's heavy. Every one of you should be ashamed, and what you don't choose, whatever you're not changing, you're choosing.